When confronted with a request to bend the truth, even if it's disguised as a harmless favor, you're faced with more than just a simple decision. Agreeing to tell what someone may call a little white lie can seem inconsequential, but each of these moments shapes our character and defines our ethical boundaries. Stoicism teaches us that integrity and honesty are not just ideals to be upheld when convenient, but are essential to our daily lives and the foundation of our moral character. Epictetus emphasized that our integrity is our most prized possession and must be guarded as carefully as our most valuable physical assets. He believed that each time we compromise our integrity, even in small ways, we chip away at the very core of our moral being. It's not just about the lie itself, but about what agreeing to lie says about our values and ourselves. Similarly, Carl Jung's exploration of the human psyche highlights the dangers of habitual dishonesty. According to Jung, every time we engage in a lie, we feed the darker parts of our psyche, known as the shadow self. This shadow can grow with each dishonest act, eventually influencing our actions and thoughts in ways that can be far removed from our conscious values and self-image. Therefore, when someone asks you to cover for them with a falsehood, the most virtuous and psychologically sound response is a firm but polite refusal. Saying something like, "Sorry, I'm all about keeping it real," not only preserves your integrity, but also communicates clearly that honesty is a priority in your life. This straightforward declaration serves as a litmus test for your relationships. The way people respond to your commitment to truth can reveal whether they truly respect and value you, or if they merely see you as a means to an end. This approach is about more than avoiding falsehood. It's about actively cultivating a life where truth is the cornerstone of all interactions. Marcus Aurelius argued that truth and transparency lead to trust and respect in all relationships, from the personal to the professional. By holding fast to the truth, you become a beacon of reliability and integrity, encouraging others to rise to the same standard. In practice, upholding these principles might lead to difficult conversations and might even strain relationships in the short term. However, the long-term benefits of living authentically and maintaining a clear conscience far outweigh the temporary discomforts. Your honesty not only sets you free, but also sets a standard for others around you, fostering a culture of trust and respect. The hidden costs of money lending. There's a delicate balance in relationships when it comes to money matters. It often begins innocuously, a small loan to a friend in a bind, a casual advance to a colleague for lunch, $20 here, $50 there. However, when these requests become a pattern without any mention of repayment, it's easy to feel more like a bank than a friend. This situation, while common, can strain relationships and test personal boundaries. In the world of Stoicism, the focus is always on wisdom and moderation. Seneca talks extensively about the danger of placing wealth above virtue. He suggested that while generosity is a virtue, it should not compromise one's own stability or wisdom. When friends or family continually ask for money, it's essential to apply this Stoic principle by considering not just the financial cost, but also the cost to your peace of mind. Moreover, lending money without boundaries can create an imbalance in the relationship. Carl Jung, who explored the deeper realms of our psyche, might suggest that such dynamics can lead to a shadow being cast in the relationship. This shadow could be the unspoken tensions or resentments that arise when money issues are mishandled. When you lend money repeatedly without reciprocity or acknowledgement, it can lead to feelings of being used, undervalued, or disrespected. So, how do you handle these recurring requests for money gracefully, saying, "I'd love to help, but I need to handle my own finances," is more than a refusal. It's a reaffirmation of your boundaries and priorities. This response isn't just about money, it's about respecting and valuing your own financial goals and responsibilities. It sends a clear message that while you are supportive, your support is not unlimited or unconditional. The response you receive can be very telling. If the person understands and respects your boundaries, it indicates a healthy relationship where mutual respect is a cornerstone. However, if they respond with guilt-tripping or pressure, it reveals a different dynamic, one where your value in their eyes might be more about what you can provide than who you are. This is a critical moment for reflection on the nature of the relationship. Handling money requests with Stoic wisdom means being firm but fair. It involves acknowledging the importance of financial prudence for both parties involved. Marcus Aurelius wrote about acting in agreement with nature and reasoned choice. In the context of lending money, this means making decisions that are financially and emotionally sustainable, aligning with your nature as a rational and self-respecting individual. This approach doesn't just protect your financial well-being, it also sets the stage for healthier, more honest relationships. By clearly communicating your boundaries, you encourage others to consider their requests more carefully and respect your financial autonomy. You also prevent the buildup of resentment or misunderstanding that can often accompany financial transactions among friends. The heavy burden of keeping secrets. There's a certain weight that comes with being entrusted with a secret, especially when it's of a dubious nature. It places you at the crossroads of loyalty and integrity, challenging you to either support a friend or uphold your moral principles. Often these secrets involve covering for someone's mistakes or misdeeds with the classic, "Don't tell anyone," but suddenly you're not just a confidant. You're an accomplice in hiding something that shouldn't be hidden. This situation draws directly from the wisdom of Stoicism, where the emphasis is on living according to virtue and reason. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once remarked that we should not merely be concerned with what happens to us, but rather how we respond. When asked to keep a secret that involves deceit or wrongdoing, your response should align with your ethical beliefs, not just your relationships. Carl Jung also touched on the complexities of secrets with his exploration of the shadow self. He believed that by concealing parts of ourselves, or in this case concealing truths for others, we risk integrating these shadows into our personalities, leading to inner conflicts and a dissonance between who we are and what we do. When someone asks you to keep a secret that feels wrong, they're not only imposing on your peace of mind, but potentially inviting you to integrate deceit into your own shadow. So, how should one navigate these murky waters? First, it's vital to communicate your discomfort clearly and calmly. A simple yet firm, "I'm not comfortable being part of this," not only sets your boundaries, but also signals to the other person that their request has crossed a line. This approach respects both your values and the other person's autonomy. After all, they can choose how to proceed with their secret without involving you. What happens next can be very telling. If they respect your decision and back down, it reaffirms that your friendship has a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. However, if they react negatively or attempt to coerce you further, it reveals a self-serving nature that prioritizes their needs over your well-being. This is a critical moment of truth, where you learn who truly values your relationship and who values you merely as a means to an end. Stoicism teaches us that external events are not within our control, but our responses to them are. In the case of being asked to keep a dodgy secret, the Stoic response is to remain true to your principles, irrespective of external pressures. This not only maintains your integrity, but also serves as a lesson to those around you about the importance of ethical behavior and the strength it takes to uphold it. When accountability takes a back seat. There are moments in life when someone might look to you as their escape hatch from accountability. Picture this scenario. A colleague slips up on a project, and rather than facing the music, they nudge you towards the spotlight of blame. It's a situation that tempts you to act out of misplaced loyalty or perhaps fear of conflict, but it's crucial to resist. Saying yes to covering for someone else's mistake is like setting a trap for yourself in the long run. The philosophy of Stoicism provides a strong framework for handling such situations. Seneca taught the importance of living a life congruent with one's own moral compass, irrespective of external pressures. When someone asks you to take the blame, they are essentially asking you to compromise your integrity for their benefit. Seneca would argue that true wisdom lies in recognizing the long-term consequences of such actions, both for oneself and for the community at large. The immediate reaction might be to avoid conflict by agreeing, but consider the precedent this sets. As Carl Jung might suggest, agreeing to take the blame when it's not yours can lead to a shadow aspect of your personality that accommodates deceit or avoidance of truth. This not only impacts your psychological health by fostering resentment and guilt, but also distorts your relationships with others who may start to view you as someone who can be easily manipulated. So, how should you respond? A firm but respectful, "I can't take responsibility for something I didn't do," not only asserts your integrity, but also encourages others to own their actions. This isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about promoting a culture of honesty and responsibility. By refusing to be complicit in the blame game, you set a clear boundary and model a behavior that respects truth and accountability. It's important to remember that true strength isn't found in acquiescence to wrongful blame, but in the courage to uphold truth, even when it's uncomfortable. This aligns closely with the Stoic ideal of virtue as the only good. Virtue includes courage, justice, wisdom, and moderation, all of which are called into play when you deny taking on blame unjustly. Each time you stand firm on such principles, you not only strengthen your character, but also contribute to a more ethical environment. Moreover, holding others accountable is a form of respect. It's a way of saying, "I believe you have the capacity to handle this and learn from it." While it may cause temporary discomfort or conflict, it ultimately leads to growth and improvement. This is a valuable lesson in any collaborative setting, whether in professional environments or personal relationships. Understanding the price of free. We all have that friend or acquaintance who approaches us with a seemingly small request. "Can you just do this quick thing for me?" But as many of us have learned, what's pitched as quick and simple often spirals into something much larger and more time-consuming. This routine can quickly transform us from a friend into an unofficial volunteer, constantly on call for favors that are rarely, if ever, reciprocated. Recognizing and addressing this dynamic is not just about asserting the value of our time, but respecting ourselves and our skills. Stoicism teaches us about the importance of self-respect and understanding our worth in the grand scheme of things. Epictetus would advise us to recognize what is and is not within our control. Our time and how we choose to spend it definitely falls within our control. When we let others decide that for us, without regard to our own needs and values, we give away more than just our time. We give away our autonomy. So, when someone repeatedly asks for freebies, it's essential to establish boundaries. A gentle yet firm, "I'm happy to help, but my work has value," serves as a crucial reminder that while you are generous, your generosity is not an open invitation for exploitation. It's about ensuring that there is fairness and respect in the exchange, which are foundational elements in any healthy relationship. Carl Jung might argue that constantly agreeing to do things for free, especially when it leaves us feeling undervalued, can lead to a resentment that festers in the unconscious. This can affect our self-esteem and how we view our interactions with others, possibly making us feel less valued or seen in other areas of our life as well. By stating your needs and the value of your contributions openly, you not only stand up for yourself, but also clarify your expectations for how you wish to be treated. Moreover, friends who truly value and respect you will understand and appreciate your stance. Those who react negatively or continue to expect free work despite your clear communication may not truly respect your boundaries, which can be a revealing indicator of the nature of your relationship. In this light, setting these boundaries is not only a form of self-respect, but also a test of the mutual respect within your relationships. Stoicism doesn't teach us to turn away from helping others, but emphasizes doing so with wisdom and discernment. Marcus Aurelius wrote about acting with a reserve clause, doing good with the understanding and readiness that outcomes may not always be within our control. Applying this to doing favors, it means we should help when we can, but also keep in mind the value of our own resources and the possibility that our efforts may not be reciprocated. In practical terms, the next time you're asked for a favor, consider what you're committing to. Is this a one-off help, or is it part of a pattern where your kindness is being taken for granted? Let your response be guided by a clear understanding of your worth and a balanced approach to generosity. Remember, every favor done should not leave you feeling depleted. It should feel like a choice that aligns with your values and respects your limits. The pitfalls of always covering for others. In any workplace or social circle, there often emerges a pattern where the same person repeatedly asks for cover for their mistakes or slip-ups. Initially, it might seem like a minor favor, just helping out a colleague or a friend in a tight spot. However, when these requests become a regular occurrence, you might find yourself becoming less of an ally and more of a safety net, continuously compensating for someone else's lack of responsibility. From a Stoic perspective, Epictetus taught that we should not concern ourselves excessively with the actions of others unless they affect our own moral well-being. In this scenario, consistently covering for someone else does indeed begin to weigh on our own ethical balance. It's not just about the inconvenience or the additional workload. It's about enabling behavior that goes against the Stoic virtue of self-control and accountability. Moreover, consistently covering for someone can lead to a form of psychological dependency, both for the one being covered and the one providing the cover. Carl Jung's concept of the shadow can be insightful here, as it suggests that by covering for others, we might be feeding their shadow, allowing them to shirk their responsibilities without facing the necessary consequences of their actions. This not only hinders their personal growth, but can also lead to resentment and burnout on our part. Therefore, it's essential to assertively say, "No, I can't cover for you this time." This simple but powerful stance is more than setting a personal boundary. It's an act of tough love. It signals to the other person that they need to take responsibility for their actions and face the consequences, which is crucial for their personal development. It also reinforces your respect for your own time and energy, teaching others that while you are supportive, your support is not unconditional or exploitative. This approach is not without its challenges. Holding your ground can be uncomfortable, especially if it disrupts the status quo or if the other person reacts negatively. However, Marcus Aurelius argued that the right action is often met with resistance and that we must be steadfast in our principles despite external pressures. In fact, setting such boundaries can ultimately lead to a healthier and more respectful working relationship, where responsibilities are clearly defined and managed individually. It is also important to communicate your decision in a way that is clear and compassionate. Explaining your reasons can help the other person understand that your refusal is not a rejection, but a call to responsibility. This conversation could be an opportunity to discuss better ways to manage tasks or commitments, potentially leading to more efficient teamwork and personal accountability. The dangers of one-sided risk. Navigating relationships, be they personal or professional, often involves gauging how much of ourselves we're willing to risk. The stakes get particularly high when someone asks you to take on a significant risk, promising to back you up, only to leave you hanging when the situation becomes dire. It's a scenario that many of us have faced at one point or another, being asked to sign off on something risky, to extend ourselves beyond our comfort zone, while the other party remains safely in the background. This situation is a clear red flag in any relationship and highlights an imbalance that needs addressing. Stoicism, a philosophy that emphasizes virtue, wisdom, and self-control, teaches us to look inward and evaluate our decisions based on whether they align with our ethical principles. Marcus Aurelius once wrote about the importance of acting in accordance with one's own nature and the common good. When someone urges you to take a risk that they themselves are not willing to share, they are essentially asking you to compromise your values for their benefit. Such scenarios also touch on the psychological dynamics of trust and responsibility. Carl Jung often discussed the shadows of our personality, those parts of ourselves that we are not fully aware of or that we prefer to ignore. When we agree to take on risks alone at the behest of others, we may be engaging with our shadow, ignoring the inner voice that warns us of potential danger. Jung might suggest that this is a moment to confront our shadow, to understand why we are tempted to acquiesce, and to strengthen our resolve to act more consciously. The appropriate response in these situations is to establish clear boundaries. If we're both not in it, I'm out. This simple yet firm declaration sets a standard for mutual risk and mutual responsibility. It communicates that trust and respect are reciprocal and that you expect from others the same level of commitment and risk that you are asked to bear. In confronting someone with this boundary, you are not only protecting yourself from potential harm, but also fostering a more honest and equitable relationship. It serves as a reminder that healthy relationships, whether in business, friendship, or romance, require balanced contributions from all parties involved. Setting such boundaries can be a profound moment of self-awareness and growth. It allows us to reflect on our past decisions, perhaps recognizing patterns where we've allowed others to disproportionately dictate the terms of engagement. This reflection can empower us to make more balanced choices in the future, choices that respect our well-being and seek a fairer distribution of risk. Insisting on shared risks in any venture is about ensuring that all parties are equally invested and that no one is disproportionately vulnerable. This approach not only protects individuals, but also builds a foundation of mutual respect and trust, which are essential for any sustainable and healthy relationship. By holding firm to this stance, you reinforce your own self-respect and encourage others to view you not just as a participant, but as a respected partner whose needs and concerns are taken seriously. In a world that often rewards the easy over the ethical, choosing honesty is not just a stance, but a statement about who we are and what we stand for.